Thank you for joining me on this primal journey, this first adventure, and diving through my first book club with Connect Four. We're going to jump into The Meaning of Your Life by Arthur Brooks, which is could not be more aligned with what I do at Connect Four. Connect Four I created as a executive leadership kind of coaching practice, essentially, where I'm helping people reconnect and rediscover with their joy and inspiration in their work. So hence meaning, because this book has been already so eye-opening for me. I'm really glad that that Arthur Brooks wrote it. It could not be more timely. He starts in the book talking about his journey back to academia after 10 years of being away and seeing a huge shift in how we're all operating and how students are all operating and functioning on campuses. He talks about the alarming statistics of how over the time span of 2005 to 2019, there's been the American Psychiatric or Psychological Association has talked about major depression has tripled and anxiety has doubled. So clearly there's something going on here. I have children. I'm very aware of social media, very aware of how technology is integrated into everything that we do now. A lot of beautiful things that come from that, including, I'm able to have this conversation with you guys now, able to connect through this community, which is so powerful and so incredible. But he talks about how the negative impacts of that and how this is called a psychogenic epidemic. So something that is, tremendously difficult, and there's a tremendous amount of suffering. And it's something that's not happening organically or biologically. It's happening through social and psychological changes. So in the book, as you read along, you'll read all these different examples of people that he's interviewed and he's discussed how, we've set up a system essentially over the last 20 plus years where, specifically with the education system, where we've taught our children that if they follow a specific path, if they're checking the boxes and saying, I'm doing this correctly and this correctly and this correctly, I'm following directions, I am doing it with a good attitude, then I'm going to be successful. If I check all these boxes, I'm going to be successful, which on paper, all these individuals that he pulls stories from, they've got incredible accolades, right? They've done all the right things, so why are they still unhappy? What is it that's the void that is not been filled? So he talks a lot about this craving for meaning, this purpose, and this significance, and essentially that in order to get that meaning, you need to feel like you're needed, like what you're doing is important and valuable. And with that, in order to discover that, you really need to be able to be self-aware, to have much more awareness over what makes you feel good, what feeds you energy, and on the opposite hand, what depletes your energy. What are those things that are just like energy vampires that just make you feel gross at the end of the day, make you feel just exhausted. And so elevating your self-awareness, this is something I do a lot in my practice, my career coaching and executive coaching practice. The more you're able to elevate that self-awareness, the more you're able to understand what you need and what you want and a plan to get you there. So he talks a lot about how social media, similar to alcohol and drug abuse, that when these kids or when these young adults are feeling lonely, or they're feeling helpless, or they're feeling like they are lost, some say they feel like they're living in a simulation, they use social media as a way to escape, to fill their time, to entertain them. And what it ends up doing is actually takes away that precious time that you need in order to reflect, in order to feel things that may be uncomfortable. Because if you don't give yourself that time and space to feel, and to feel pain, or to even feel joy, then you're not able to understand. You're not really truly living, right? You're not really understanding, like, okay, this is painful. This is something that I need to work through. On a personal note, I'm a recovering codependent people pleaser. I grew up feeling like I learned pretty quickly that if I was really good at being able to understand other people's feelings and emotions, and I was conflict averse, and so I would be able to, through my behaviors, be able to kind of mold myself to ignore my own needs and desires to make sure that I was fulfilling someone else's needs and desires. Therefore, I was getting, my value essentially was attached outside of myself. So if I made someone else feel happy, or if I took a burden off of someone else, then I felt valuable. I learned, I learned over time that it just ignoring my own needs and kind of suppressing that, I, became just I felt like I didn't know who I was. I wasn't able to tie any value to myself just as a human being, as an individual. I didn't, in very simply terms, like, I didn't even know what type of music I liked to listen to. I didn't know, what things that I truly enjoyed. I was so used to pleasing other people and became a chameleon of sorts. All that to say that that was kind of my numbing. That was my escape. And it took a lot of really hard things to happen in my life for me to wake up from this, to learn that I needed to become way more self-aware, to find meaning in my life, and to spend the time sitting in my feelings, sitting in my pain, sitting in my, and really to get to know myself. So instead of, when I'm feeling lonely or when I'm feeling bored, picking up my phone and scrolling through, all the different things that we can scroll through, going from your email to your different social media accounts to your bank account. I mean, whatever. You can get in a loop, right? I think we all get in this loop. Instead of getting in that loop, put your phone down and sit and think and pray or meditate. Spend some time. Spend some quiet moments with yourself. Start to make observations. Create a gratitude journal. Start to understand what you're really thankful for, what you're grateful for, what means something to you, what's important to you. So Arthur Brooks talks a lot in this introduction about that kind of striving for something more, and that we're so distracted by our devices that we're unable to really get to that place, such an important place. So I'm curious, after you read that introduction, what are some takeaways that you had? What are some experiences that you've had in your own life that you have, you've learned similar lessons? Or are you just now kind of cracking this open? Are you just now starting to understand what this is? So leave comments. Let's have a discussion. And I'm gonna schedule one of these, or have a recording once a week, so that we can have this dialogue and this conversation together. I am looking forward to discovering what is meaningful in my life, what is meaningful in your life, so that we can live richer lives with intention. So I'm excited you're here, and let's keep the conversation going.